The caves. You set up your equipment, then step outside and turn it on. There is no evidence of rock debris, so it was pulverized into dust and then that dust vacuumed out as the work was done and provides. There is no question these are high-tech power generator rooms. They have been laser scanned. This is clearly from an advanced civilization. The equipment they used is even simple by today's standards. You have a speaker and it produces a sound. That sound sustains, reverberates, and then it feeds back due to the reflective characteristics of the hard, polished surface and the geometry of the rooms. It has all been analyzed by experts. There are focal points where the sound is targeted and a frequency of 34.4 Hz. A speaker producing a sound immediately blew like an amplifier that meets a microphone. Feedback. So the energy causes the speaker, which would have to be a metal speaker with a metal diaphragm and a permanent magnet, to accelerate, and then since it is metal, a copper coil is used and energy is created as the magnet attached to the speaker vibrates. There are two rooms in one of the caves. The rectangular room moderates the smaller round room, where given the chance would destroy the metal speaker in no time. In fact, you could create plasma in there since one note will sustain by itself for 60 seconds, which means it will compound exponentially in a very short time like an amplifier. The room amplifies sound. The rectangular room provides destructive interference to moderate the round room and noise cancellation outside the round room. The walls are not vertical. They are on a slight angle leaning in, and the entire room has a tolerance of about 2.5 millimeters. So it is not from a laser. It is from acoustic tools. 2.5 millimeters is 2 paperclip widths. So in the size of that entire room, the walls are not always parallel by 2 paperclip widths. The rooms, if you cut them exactly in half, are symmetrical within 2 paperclips, but only in 30% of the time. Otherwise, they are perfectly symmetrical, meaning there is no error 65% to 70% of the time they are exact, and 35% of the time they vary by up to 2.5 mm. Acoustic tools use a wavelength of 1 mm to 1 cm. The geometry is perfect within 2.5 mm. A machine was used to hollow the room, and there is evidence of that also. Imagine that if you rough cut with pickaxes, you still have to finish the work to a mirror polish at that specification, which means your rough cut has to also be perfect before you even start to polish. If you go even a bit deeper with a rough cut, you need to redo everything. So then not all the caves are like that. Cargo cults tried to copy them and could not do it, and so those are also there. A simple setup with a vibrating metal speaker 20 centimeters in size would create enough electricity to run a typical welding shop in today's world without damaging the metal speaker, and normal wire cables were probably used, and portable transformer and portable circuit breakers, and you have a power station. When you leave, you take your portable equipment with you and leave the caves. You set up your equipment, then step outside and turn it on. There is no evidence of rock debris, so it was pulverized into dust, and then that dust vacuumed out as the work was done and provides fertilizer like any volcanic soil when they were excavated to specifications. Of these power generating rooms based on feedback, you turn it on, it just continues to vibrate, and as it does, it makes more noise and then bounces back to fuel that vibration. You pin it to turn it on, and it self-sustains. A speaker is like a microphone. The diaphragm is a microphone. The speaker has a bleep that now creates the sound by pushing the air. The ancient builders in India carved temples and did extreme artwork and fine detail for what looks like game sets for natives too. They used to farm and provide goods for the ancient builder civilization off-planet. As part of their work in temples, they used acoustic precision tools that use ultrasonics. We use them today to occupy the natives' time and support a civilization. While they supplied goods like a supply planet, they provided stories for them, and the rulers put them to work building pyramids for job creation and commerce. As instructed. Barabar breathtaking precision and geometry discovered in ancient Indian granite caves. There is a very remote possibility that they used Tesla-style technology to send current or kinetic energy through the earth and used lingams or stone pillars as receivers by putting a metal collar on the pillars. But then that destroys the environment. So it is more likely that they used Stargate doors to feed the wires through, and in the back of that one mentioned, that has the round room and the rectangular room joined. There is a small fake door that could have been used to house a Stargate door. There is a fancy door close by that might have been a Stargate door, but the cargo cultists hollowed out a room behind it trying to emulate the other 5 caves. Above that door you could read elephants as work, and between them transformers. So a Stargate door hub perhaps is where it led to. There are artifacts in India that claim to be Stargate doors, probably made again by cargo cults.